Greetings, folks. Welcome to a very special book launch party. Tonight, we are celebrating the launch of the book Lost Lore and Legends from Breaking Rules Europe. This is a drabble anthology focused around myths and legends from all over the world. My first guest tonight is one of the people behind the book. He's a regular feature on these shows. He is the bearded wonder, Mr. David Green.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there. How are you?
Hello there.
I didn't even mean to do that. That one just came out as it must be like a recent memory or something that, like, whenever I say hello to you, I have to say hello there. Otherwise, you get sad.
You're channeling Alec Guinness, isn't it?
Well, Alec Guinness, or is it Ewan McGregor? Which one's the better Obi-Wan? I'd say Ewan McGregor, to be honest with you.
I would kind of have to agree.
In the other, because like obviously like Alec Guinness is in three of them, the three originals, but in one of them he's so fed up that even though he's a ghost, he just sits down on a log for a little while.
Sits on his arse. You can tell he just can't be arsed, can't you?
Yeah,
he's literally doing the equivalent of phoning it in that you had in the 70s or in the early 80s.
Yeah, he is. But it's funny because like you have all these kind of people, like the modern ones, going like, "Oh, how did this person do this? How did this person do this? How did this?" And it's like, Alec Guinness sat on a log as a ghost, so anything is possible. Like he got so tired, he had to take a load off and sit on a log. So there you go.
Yeah, he'd do the entire film. He just sat on a log in a swamp. That's like pretty much what everybody in Norfolk does, isn't it?
Yeah. Logs are handy to sit on. Like
they are. I give you that.
That's why you shouldn't move them if they're on the ground. Leave them there because someone, possibly Alec Guinness's ghost, will sit on them.
Yeah. Now there you go. There's some life advice from David Green. So, sir, this anthology. Tell me about it because actually we should probably start first by saying like Breaking Rules Europe.
Breaking Rules Europe. That is all. There's a light that's just appeared. Anyway.
Somebody interrogating you or something. You'll talk.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
I do love an interrogation. Anyway, so breaking rules. That's what we used to call it back in the day when I was in middle and upper management. They weren't interviews, they were interrogations.
Nice.
Yeah. Breaking Rules Europe. So that's it's our first anthology that's released. We've released a couple of little, not little, but we inherited some back catalogue from the American company for European and Australian authors. So we've been kind of repackaging those and releasing them on the website and on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. But this is our first project as a team, so we wanted to do something to celebrate Europe, basically, and we didn't want to kind of just like say it had to be horror or it had to be fantasy or it had to be like a romance, which there is some romantic travels involved, but so we just thought like what we could do is
not mine.
Not yours. No, not yours. Well, yours are quite romantic. The one about the canary is quite romantic, I think. Look at this. With miners get lonely. That's all I'm going to say. Especially in Pole Dark Mine.
Yes.
So like Europe is obviously there's so many countries in Europe, but there's a rich history and there's a rich mythology, rich folklore as well. And what's great is that we do have a number of American authors in this as well, which is great because obviously a lot of American people are proud of the European heritage that they have. And when and us Europeans, as we're watching, American TV shows and films and their kind of folklore, there's a lot of it that is based on ours. So we have that kind of familiarity with it, but we wanted to do something that kind of celebrated the European aspect of that. And so we thought we'd do myths, lore, and folklore for the whole of Europe. Trying not to do the usual kind of Greek mythology and Norse, which we did do, but we didn't want to do a lot of them. We wanted to kind of do a lot like Celtic and Iberian, Germanic, and Slavic, which we got quite a lot of actually, which was fun.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So whose idea? Because let's just recap. Breaking Rules Europe is yourself, one of our other guests, Mr. Marry Hultman, and Derek Power.
Derek Power, yeah.
Derek Power, yeah.
That's right, yeah. Author of the Filthy Henry series, which is Ireland's, is a detective that investigates the fairy tale worlds of fae and leprechauns and kind of stuff. Yeah, they're really good books. They're fun. So he's a Irish author, and then there's myself, and there's Christopher Marry Hultman, the American Swede.
Yes. The American Swede. Now, rutabaga. An American Swede is a rutabaga. That's what they call them over there. Oh. That's what they call Swedes over in... Not the people from the country, I mean the vegetable. That's what they call them over there. So yes, Christopher Marry Hultman, the rutabaga.
The rutabaga.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Right, so... Yeah, you should. I'm trying to get his face, trying to see his face in this little thing at the bottom. Right. So, you're going to read a couple of drabbles.
I am. I'm going to read a couple. So I did a few. I tried to do like a few from different areas of Europe, but I did two.
Yeah,
which were.
I'll tell you what. I'll get off. You tell us about them. Give them a go. Okay, matey.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I just tried to wink them, but I winked with both of my eyes, which is quite embarrassing. I couldn't decide which eye to wink with, so I just closed my eyes for a second. Anyway, so I did a few different drabbles. I'm going to read two of them today, which are linked, which are both based on Arthurian legend, which was probably the thing that I first started reading as a kid. I was well into Arthurian legend, which a lot of people that grow up in England are. There's so much of it, and it was something that I always found quite enthralling and still do in my old age. So the first one is called The Death of a Kingdom. Excalibur gripped in two hands, Arthur studied the kneeling Mordred, who glared back with unchecked malice. He deserves death, my king, Merlin intoned, sneering down at the villain knight. You must strike the blow for Camelot. Arthur hesitated, unable to shake the certainty that Mordred became the man he did through his actions, his neglect. No, Arthur whispered, sheathing mighty Excalibur. He is my son. Banish him. My king, you heard me, Merlin. Banish him. Turning away, Arthur did not witness the cruel smile on Mordred's lips. That day, Arthur, king of the Britons, failed. That day, his mercy sealed Camelot's fate. So that's the first one. Let me just pull up the second. So Fate Sealed. So this one is called Fate Sealed. Let me fight, my king, Grifflet hissed, his gore-stained blade dull in the moonlight. Allow me to end the fiend. Arthur shook his head, staring across the mound of corpses separating him from his son. Knights of the realm, soldiers of the king and of the usurper Mordred, they deserve better, even the traitors. No, Grifflet, witness this. Sire, his prowess outstrips yours. Arthur met Mordred, nodding before he raised Excalibur. Without a word, Mordred ran him through. A killing blow. Arthur delivered his own, sinking Excalibur into Mordred's neck. Arthur and his son died, and so did the realm. The end. That's those two. So Tim will appear like magic very, very shortly. Yeah, so that's them. Yeah, a little bit of Arthurian legend, as you know, as I just said before.
Indeed. We've discussed it before on one of our after hours, haven't we? In fact, about half of it was us talking about Arthurian legend.
Yeah. I've got an idea to do a King Arthur Robin Hood mashup story.
Nice.
I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but that's the idea anyway. So, who knows?
Well, I've got my King Arthur H.P. Lovecraft mashup coming out this year. Yeah, it's called Shadows over Avalon.
yeah, that's great. It's a great title. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. My story in it is basically when Sir Gawain's on the way to meet the Green Knight, and he has all he mentions all these adventures on the way. Yeah. Meets one of the great old ones on the way, So, as you do.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be getting that one. Put us down for a copy.
Aye, will do, sir. Indeed. Right, cheers, matey. I'll bring you back in a bit. Get my next guest on, which is all the way from sunny Sweden, Mr. Marry Hultman.
It's actually been quite sunny.
Has it? I was taking this.
Yeah, no, it is. It's been. I installed solar panels on my roof last fall, and then March has been completely sunny. I think I've made some of my money back.
Nice.
I know.
Excellent. No, so that really surprises me because the last time we intended on doing one of these, you couldn't do it because the snow had killed your internet.
Yeah, I know. And because of that, I switched providers, so now it works perfectly. No, because that same week, I think I was talking to Green about this. Like that same week, because we were doing, because we do a separate podcast where we read the Wheel of Time. Speaking of,
I've seen them popping up on the YouTube feed.
Yeah, and that particular day, I think we didn't have any water either because the snow had frozen the pipes. So it's like a third world country over here. You'd think.
But you had snow outside, right? So you haven't really run out of water.
Actually, I think it was somebody who was digging in the yard and they busted the pipe.
Ah, yeah.
But yeah, no. So it was
that's how it usually happens. Yeah. Some numpty with a shovel.
Yeah, and actually, so that weekend when I couldn't go out on the internet, we went. We stayed at a hotel. We dropped the kids off at the grandparents, and then we stayed at a hotel. Me and my wife.
Very nice. Yeah.
So just to use the internet, nothing else. We only use the internet.
Yeah. The internet's died. Let's go to a hotel. I love it.
Yes.
This is the best excuse I've ever heard.
Free breakfast and the internet. That's all you need.
Indeed, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your drabbles in this year anthology and then give us a bit of a read?
Yeah. My intention was to only do 3. Because obviously, as you don't want to take up too much space, being the publisher, you don't want to make people think that you just put out Drabble collection so you can put your own stuff in there.
Only a bloody Drabble. It's like 100 words.
Well, Derek Power only put it in 1. He was like, "That's it. That's my limit. I think you'll like it."
Yeah, I'm sure I will. It's just this guy I'm not crossed paths with yet. Yeah.
No, I don't think anybody
problem on this. It's just I went up basically. I asked David who I should ask, and I just did that. But I'll get him. I'll do an after hours with the 3 of you. It'll be a good laugh.
Yeah, it'll be great. He is. I think he told us once. He's the only author. I mean, the 2 of us, David and myself, are the only authors he knows.
Right.
So he's not very. He doesn't spread his influence around them. No, he doesn't do that. Although he is very using Twitter and stuff like that. But the idea was I was supposed to only do a couple, and I wanted to do something that was Scandinavian and not Norse mythology, because I think a lot of people equate legends and lore from Scandinavia with Norse mythology, and that's just like one small part of it. And I wanted to kind of.
I'll tell you what. I'll get off. You tell him. Yep.
Yes, I'll tell him. Yeah. So the idea was that I was supposed to do. I wanted to do something that especially inspired me as a kid, and also something that was kind of more towards Scandinavian and especially Swedish mythology, where there are a couple of things that don't really show up in other kind of lore, because there's a lot of, obviously in Europe there's a lot of lore that is the same. I mean, that there's not much difference from Germanic to Scandinavian to French or whatever. And it was interesting because actually one of the drabbles that came in, I think from an American or Canadian author, was one called the Myling, which is a very, very Swedish kind of ghost child. So that was kind of exciting. But I tried to do something that was very Scandinavian, very Swedish, and at the same time a drabble that was close to my own heart, which was Greek mythology, which was actually kind of my introduction into the world of like imagination and fantasy and myth and lore and stuff like that. So I did one about Troy, the reason why Troy fell from the beginning. I'm not going to read one of those. The first one I'm going to read is called Fiddle and the Drum. And Tim is going to like this because it's actually, the title is from a leveler's song. So here it is, Fiddle and the Drum. I ran, breath caught in her throat, from the dark woods, from the gnarled claw-like fingers of the Rå, that vile creature with her bark-covered back and stringy hair. Ran until she reached the clearing, halted at the crystal-clear water of the creek flowing from the mountainside. A young man sat there, fiddle in hand. "Do you know who I am?" he whispered softly into her ear. "Yes," she quivered. "Then speak it." "Nekken." He kissed her tenderly, and the world disappeared. She felt the icy water wash over her as the world vanished with her fear. So that story encompasses two Swedish legends. The legend of Nekken, a kind of nymph-like water creature who lures people into the water and drowns them, kind of like a kelpie. There's a horse version also in Swedish myth, which is very much like a kelpie. And the Rå, which is kind of like a crone-like creature that lives in the woods, that also lures people and kills them. This next one is called Crime and Punishment, and I think I'll explain what it's all about after, what my thoughts are after. Are you comfortable? Herder's wide eyes trained on Loki's writhing form. The earth rattled and his agonized screams bounced off the cave walls as the serpent's venom touched his chest once again. Loki strained at the chains keeping him in place, dreading the next drop. "Why?" he pleaded with the blind god. "To bring about the end of the world," Herder smirked. "I wanted the same," Loki whimpered. "I could have aided you in this." "Oh, you already did." Herder put Loki's bow from beneath his cloak. "For who would believe meek Herder would kill his own brother?" And the idea behind Crime and Punishment is actually taken from most people when it comes to Norse mythology know of the story that Loki is the one that brings about the end of the world by killing Balder, the kind of god of love, or he tricks Herder, a blind god, to do it. But there is also, that's taken from the Edda by an Icelandic monk called Snorre. But there's also a German monk named Saxo Grammaticus who collected Norse mythology, and in his collection, Herder does it on purpose because he's in love with Balder's wife. So that was kind of like the idea behind that. Now I'd like Tim to enter the narrative again, like Jeeves.
Hello.
Yes, there you are. Very much like Jeeves.
Yeah. What house, huh?
I think we talked about that on my After Hours. Our mutual love of P.G. Wodehouse.
Yes. I've actually been writing a few bits very much inspired by that at the minute. So, yeah. Well, one of them has actually been sent to you guys. Actually, yeah. You'll see.
I'll see. I'm sure I will.
There's very much a butler going on. Yeah. Butler kind of thing. Very much. Yeah. I'm going to stop there talking about that. Spoilers and all that. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, it's nice to hear like a different take on the Norse mythology because, like you say, like you were saying before, you get the same ones all the time.
Yeah,
and I've got to say that the name of the German monk sounds like a band.
Saxo Grammaticus, yeah, probably.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome name for a band. Saxo Grammaticus, I love it. Okay, sir. I will bob you off, and I will bring on my next guest, all the way from the United States of America. Another familiar face. That'll be Chris Bannor. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
Yeah, very good. Very, very good indeed. Yeah. So yeah, this anthology. Lost Lore and Legends. I mean, how like when you saw it pop up, what instantly sprung to your mind?
First, just I have to do it because I think there's so much you can explore with any kind of folklore and fairy tales, and when they started calling for things that were specifically, European, like I'm like, good, I can get out of like this like bastardized American fairy tales that we get, that we're raised on. And I wanted to, look into things that weren't colored by that. Because most of the time when I think fairy tales, it's the very Disney version.
Yeah. I'm like,
get that out of my head. This will be a fun experience to, write something that's completely outside of that.
No, it's brilliant. Yeah, because I imagine you do get like a lot of people thinking that they're the sort of the real versions of these stories, that like the Disney sort of aspect.
Yeah.
I think not so much now, because I think you're getting a lot more things like with Netflix and all that. You're getting these series that are actually based on the real stories, the real legends.
You see all these these remakes that are so popular right now, and so people start going, "Oh wait, that's actually in the story," or you start looking into it and you're just like, wow, that's not the fairy tale I grew up on. But I didn't grow up on those because my grandmother had bought me an old Grimm's fairy tale book. And it was like, what's the classic stories that nobody knows, or, with endings that, I love The Little Mermaid, but it's not the Little Mermaid that Disney gave me. But I've always loved that story.
It's like, I can imagine, like, if you'd read that first, you're waiting for the cartoon Cinderella for the ugly sisters to start cutting their toes off.
Yeah.
To try and fit them in the slipper.
But yeah,
well, that'd be interesting animated, wouldn't it? Have some self-mutilation, children. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot different than that. So it's fun to look into the darker sides of the fairy tales and just see what's out there.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to go off. If you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to read this evening, and just like your drabbles in general in the thing, and I will be back on just sort of, say Alakazam or something, and I'll reappear. It seems everybody else seems to think I'm a bloody genie tonight, so I'll see you in a bit.
All right. So most of the when I started looking at drabbles, I have 5 drabbles in this book, and I just really started looking at mythological creatures that I love. Not a specific myth or legend, but just the creatures that I loved, the things I've heard of in one place or another that I haven't really heard much of since. And so I just kind of looked at that sort of thing. The first drabble that I'll read is called The Dance, and it's about will-o'-the-wisps. I'm just fascinated with, I love the idea of the will-o'-the-wisp. I love this idea of any kind of fae or fairy creature that, like they're doing their own thing, and there's not necessarily a malevolence towards humans or humanity, but just in their nature, they are dangerous. And so that's where this idea for my first drabble came from. So I will read this first one. This is called The Dance. Fog rolled in across the marshes, and the moon hung behind a curtain of clouds. The civilized world slept, doors closed to the world of wonder that waited just beyond their vision. The will-o'-the-wisp came to life with the dark. They danced through the fields, leaving a trail of magic behind. Uninitiated visitors of the marsh followed at their peril, intoxicated by the warmth of the light they couldn't reach. They wandered further from their safe paths, from the world of mortal men. The will-o'-the-wisp danced on, unaware of the death in its wake. So that's my first one. I just love the idea that no matter what they're doing, they're just being their own creature, and whatever happens to people happens. It's not something that they're necessarily intent on doing. The second story I wrote was about trolls, actually. I was thinking of, looking at some of the old classic fairy tales and some of the creatures in them, and I thought, it seems like some of these are, not necessarily getting a good rap. And I was thinking of writing about the trolls, and came up with this story. It's called Best Left Alone. The Moss Rocks had always been the troll's home. Men built bridges over him, around him, and tried to leave him undisturbed. The locals knew which paths were best left alone. The rain fell softly outside of his cave. The troll stepped out and tilted his head to the sky. He caught the sweet taste of water given from the clouds. Animals scurried past him unafraid. He wasn't cruel by nature, but trolls were vastly maligned by the world. The chirp of birds greeted him, and he smiled, a large, toothy grin, before taking solace in his cave once more. And that is Best Left Alone, my second drabble. I would rub a lamp if I had one to get Tim back. Tim, where are you? I need my genie.
I am here. I don't have wishes. No, it's brilliant. Yeah, that's a very interesting one. Yeah, I like different takes on things. I like that sort of thing myself. Yeah. Trolls are very much maligned, but I think they're just them kind of guys. A bit. I think if I was like a mythological fantasy kind of creature, I'd probably be a troll. I'd probably be sitting in the wood, right? And if somebody came up and disturbed me when I'm having a kip, they would get a big log over the head.
Exactly. They're just at home doing their thing. You're interrupting,
chilling out with me troll buddies, having a natter, and some hero comes up saying, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna
get out of my house, dude. I'm busy."
Yeah. Leave me alone. Thank you, Chris. I will get you back on shortly. Moving on to yet another Chris. This is somebody I spoke to only 2 days ago. So let's say like to pretend that we haven't seen each other for a while. Hello, how are you doing, Chris?
Haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, it's been so long. You really should catch up.
That is an incredibly bright shirt, man.
It is, isn't it? I've deliberately gone with this one.
Have you?
Yeah.
Just to screw in my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only chance you're going to get.
Monochrome.
Only chance you're going to get a tan, isn't it?
Yeah. I can only see in monochrome. That's just. Does it come with a knob so you can turn the things down?
My dog can see this colour.
Yeah, Christ almighty, that's horrible. So,
yes.
So how are you doing anyway, mate?
Well, I got my 3 wishes sorted. Do you want them now?
Maybe later. Yeah.
Right. We'll take it
Maybe
offline.
later. Yeah, when we're offline, people start talking if you give them now.
No, they would. They would.
They really would. So, mate,
Anyway.
yeah. Do you want to give us a bit of a
Sure.
lowdown on your stuff and give us a bit of a read, and I will
Yep.
come back in a bit. Thanks, man.
Right. So yeah, I've got 5 drabbles in here as well. And again, I think the thing I really like about this is the research, to be quite honest, particularly with this call, because it was for, well, I already checked with David, and the Celtic area was fairly well covered, as was Greek. So certainly 1 or 2 of mine are Germanic, which was very interesting. I certainly didn't understand the link between the Tales of Grimm and a lot of ancient Germanic history. That was quite interesting. So a couple of those turn up in the drabbles. But the 2 I'll be reading tonight, one is Celtic, the first one I managed to get in, and the second one is Hungarian for something a little bit different. So the first one is entitled Meg's Daughters, and I've no doubt we're all familiar with Stonehenge, but that's probably the most famous of the Neolithic stones in the UK. Turns out, because I Wikipedia'd it earlier, there are 1,300 stone circles across the UK, which in theory means that if I step outside my door, I'm likely to trip over one. As it happens, I've not seen one on my wanders, apart from Stonehenge, and there must have been one down in Cornwall. It's bound to be a few down in Cornwall. So Meg's Daughters is in fact a particular collection of stones up in Cumbria, somewhere between the Pennines and the Lake District. And it's got a lovely tale associated with it. So I'll give you the drabble and then fill in the details at the end. So Meg's daughter. Aye, but can you count Meg's daughters? Said the crone. The tavern fell silent. Unimpressed, Karen accepted the drunken bet. How many children could one woman have? A woman? Few. A colloquially named granite obelisk ringed by a myriad of boulders. Well, she'd been stitched up. Not to be outdone, at dawn, she started counting the countless stones, and the village turned out to watch until dusk. Nearing her goal, Karen didn't feel Meg's shovel crack her skull, or the dirt, or the cold dirt of the shallow grave, or even the weight of the boulder that marked another of the witch's inquisitive daughters. So what I particularly like about this, the original version of this story, the actual historic version of the story, is the idea that if you count the stones, you can't count the stones. If you try and count the stones, then the spell is broken. And I assume that unleashes the witch, which is the biggest of these stones. And hence, yeah, the idea that you can't count these stones is really what drove this drabble, mainly by getting a spade up the back of the head. The second one of these is, as I said, Hungarian drabble. I'll read this one out and come back to it because this one's a little going to require a little bit of explanation, probably. So this is called The Loneliness of a Shepherdess. Elise had needs that went unfulfilled in the mountains come winter. When the nights grew long and the path to the village became impassable, she'd long for company. Driven by loneliness and the tall tales of her grandmother, Elise summoned a Lidurk by taking a small black egg and burying it in manure. Within a fortnight, it had grown into an eager lover, and for a while, Elise did not sleep alone, if at all. The weeks passed, and Elise's strength waned as the Lidurk satisfied both her urges and its own. Come the spring, the villagers found Elise's smiling, drained corpse. And so this one is, if you haven't kind of guessed, is a kind of succubus type character. And yeah, the folklore goes, if anyone wants to get the ingredients and notes, the first black egg of a chicken stuck under the arm or in some manure will bring forth evidently a very competent lover. The only problem is you probably won't survive at the end of it. And with that bombshell, let us summon back Tim.
That's amazing.
Any comments? Any comments on that, Tim?
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think Gwyneth Paltrow needs to start stocking black eggs. Forget the jade eggs. She needs to start stocking up the black eggs. She'll be able to shift a load of those.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I'm gonna have to rewind you to the first one, right? First off, did you attempt a northern accent at one point?
What? Yeah, I did try again.
Yeah. Go on, do it again.
No, I'm not doing it again. In fact, I think it was my infamous Scottish accent, I believe, again.
That was brilliant. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was the Erie River. Course of the Sky launch, wasn't it? Now, my second point about that, you can tart it up all you like about it being you read about it. It was Stones of Blood, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Was that actually Meg's daughters, or was it just the stone rings?
No, it was actually a stone ring. It was actually one of the ones actually in Cornwall. But the whole thing on that was you can't count them and get the same number each time.
Yeah, a great idea. I must admit I'd forgotten that aspect because that was Pertwee, wasn't it?
No, it was Baker.
Was it Baker?
Yeah, God. It was part of the Key to Time series season. Yeah, with Romana 1. Yeah.
You'll have to send a DVD up to me. It's been a while.
Up to you? Kent, it's down the road.
Well, it's 30 miles up the road. Anyway.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, matey. I'll bring you back on in a bit. Before I go, hang on. Not pressed the right button. There we go. Before I go any further, to the viewer at home, we are taking questions this evening. So if you want to start getting your questions in now, we will answer them when we finish doing our little bits and pieces. My next guest this evening, again, comes all the way from the United States. And this is the first time he's doing one of these. I would like to introduce you all to Mr. Patrick Winters. Hello, mate.
Hello.
Strike a pose.
Yeah, gotta do jazz hands. Gotta make a first impression.
Exactly. I love that skull behind you. That's cool.
Old gift, old friend, actually.
What's his name?
Clive.
Love it. Good name for a skull.
Yeah. What else would you name a skull? I mean, come on.
This is it. So where are you talking to us from?
I am talking to you from the dark recesses of Jacksonville, Illinois.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Surrounded by corn, and a little bit more corn.
Yeah. It is, yeah. It is cornfields, isn't it? It's where you like you picture sort of like Children of the Corn, any of that kind of thing. It is that kind of
precisely.
Yeah. Lots of people scurrying around in cornfields. Yeah, excellent. So, mate, are you going to give us a little intro? Tell us about your things, and then give us a reading. Then I'll bring you back on a bit.
All right, thank you.
Excellent.
So, I've always loved different mythology from across the world ever since I was a kid. Got into Greek mythology early, so when I saw this open call, I had to do it. Did some research for it, and of the 5 drabbles that I ended up having in this anthology, 2 creatures I had previously heard of, 3 of them I had not. The first drabble I will be reading for you is one of the creatures that I had not heard of prior to this. It is based on a Slavic being, and for this particular drabble, I picture the being looking like Betty White, but you can put in whoever you like and determine for yourself. Please forgive the pronunciations. I am an ignorant American here. So here's my first drabble, Kuma. The old woman had traveled far, from a place beyond man's reach, to walk among the unclean and the doomed. A group of children at play were the first to see her as she entered the village. The young ones fled at her approach, screaming their terror. When their elders saw her, they took up the cries of their children, knowing full well what the stranger brought. They hid away in their homes, peeking out at the decrepit woman dressed in immaculate white, who passed through their streets without a word. Within a month, half the village succumbed to plague. And that figure, Kuma, however you pronounce it correctly, is associated with plague and bringing plague, so that explains that one. My second drabble was based on a figure that I had some previous knowledge on. I was actually scrolling through Facebook a couple years ago and found a historian / folklore expert of some sort speaking about this figure, and I kind of filed this away in my memory, hoping to do something with it one day, and Lost Lore and Legends finally gave me that opportunity. This is a figure from Norse mythology, a zombie of sorts, named the Opterganga. It was a cold, harsh evening when Einar's mother stated that his father had taken her the previous night, wanting another son, a better one. This hurt Einar, but scared him even more, for his father had died and been buried a week before. He hoped it was only an unfortunate thought from a distraught mind. But then they started finding their livestock dead, butchered and strewn about. Next came the footprints, appearing in the newly fallen snow, some outside Einar's bedroom window. And when his father's yells started to come with the night, Einar knew his time was short. So, Sim Solabim, I now summon Tim.
I wasn't ready. Matt, no, I was into that. That was really chilling, especially with that background you going on. That was awesome. No, nice one, man. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no, I was into that. I was engrossed. That's always my thing with drabbles. It's like I want more.
Yeah. Just tease you.
No, that was absolutely superb, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. So I will. I'll bring you back on in a minute. Once I figure out how to use this thing. I keep confusing myself by having the wrong menu up because I'm looking at the comments, but I should be looking at the banners, and it's all very confusing. You guys can't see this madness that's going on my screen. You just have an easy thing. Well, thank you, mate. That was actually brilliant. I'll see you in a minute. Again, I've done the wrong thing. There we go. Right. And that brings us to, well, me. So I'm going to give you a couple of my drabbles from this. And as most of you know, drabbles hurt my head. But David demanded 5 of them, and, basically put a metaphorical gun to my head. It was like, do drabbles. So I kind of had to do drabbles. It was quite funny that when it was announced that I got 5 drabbles in this anthology, another writer, I believe it was Jennifer Hatfield, posted I had to do a double take. Tim drabbles, you're kidding me. So anyway, I've decided to do all mine on Cornish folklore, specifically Cornish mining superstitions and fishermen's superstitions, because most of my stuff is based in Cornwall, in my own sort of milieu. If I was feeling pretentious, I'd call it my own mythos. I'm pretentious. It's my mythos. But these are kind of just traditional stories. The first one I've got for you tonight is called The Knockers of Poldark Mine. No sniggering at the back. Here, did you hear that? The rhythmic tapping noise echoed down the cramped mine tunnel. Cooper put down his pick and shrugged. It's probably someone further down. Ken mopped his brow. There ain't nobody down that way. That shaft's been disused for bloody ages. Sounds like someone's down there, though. Ken sighed. The damn fool. We'd better check it out. That place ain't safe. Cautiously, Ken and Cooper stalked towards the abandoned section. Ducking under a wooden crossbeam, the two men looked up, just in time to see the shaft collapse upon them. Yeah, that's the traditional miner superstition of the knockers. Again, no sniggering at the back. That would lure people to their doom. They would knock on the tunnels and lure miners to their doom. And yeah, so that was my take on that. I did a few other pieces for this. I started a couple on like piskies and things like that, but they ended up growing too big. I had to start again. My next one, oh no, I've just clicked on the wrong thing. Yeah, my next one is about the old cryptid favorite, the Beast of Bodmin Moor. It's called, imaginatively, the Beast of Bodmin. What was that? It was just the wind. Sarah wasn't convinced. She'd never heard wind snap a twig before. Oh, John, we should have carried on to Hollow Hills. There was no time. It was getting dark. We could have fallen down a mine shaft. This area is riddled with them. Snap. Sarah yelped. Something brushed against the tent. John grabbed his torch and went to open the flap. Don't! She gripped his arm tightly. It's all right, love. It's probably just a sheep. John opened the flap. Sarah's screams travelled for miles as the beast's teeth bit into John's head with a crunch. Yep, that was about the old cryptid favourite, the Beast of Bodmin, which is basically supposed to be a giant black cat. I think it's a cryptid that I've used a couple of times in my stories, but yeah, you see these. It's like the Loch Ness Monster. You occasionally see pictures in the newspaper of these really grainy photographs, and it's basically just somebody up close with a cat. But who knows? Could be up there prowling the moors right now. Okay, so I'm going to bring everybody back, and we'll do the Q&A. First off, is Mr. Green. Hello, sir.
Hello, thanks for the warning.
Hey?
Thanks for the warning. Coming back.
All right.
I've got to ask both of you, Mr. Green. Here in Sweden, that's like an online casino. Is that? Do you have that over there too?
No, I'm really not a betting person either. I have a very addictive personality. So if I started to bet on something, I would not stop. So I just stayed away from it.
Yeah, same. I'm the same on that. When people say to you like bet, it's like nope.
The only thing I bet on is my life.
Right, so we got David Green, Christopher Marry Hultman, Chris Bannor, Chris Hewitt, and Patrick Winters back. Thanks, guys. That was really good. You did some great readings there, people. Was that your supping, Hultman? Oh, wine. Excellent.
Wine. My wife just came home from work and brought some wine.
Oh, that's good.
Excellent. Thanks, Kurt. With this lemon and gin, I summon thee, Tim. That works. That works. Good. I like that. Right, yeah, so we're going to get some questions in, people, and we will answer them. First off, I'll start off, and I'll basically ask the question, go around the group. So, Drabbles. How easy or difficult do you find doing them? I'll start with you, Mr. David Green.
I find that this is like, I hate like kind of giving myself any kind of praise at all.
That's because you're British. We hate it.
it's because I said it to someone once. I was like, someone asked me about guilty feelings or something. And I was like, I'm working class. I grew up in the north of England, and I'm Catholic. All I have is guilt.
A-level guilt. Right there.
Yeah.
A-level guilt.
Yeah. And I'm white, and I'm a male, and I'm straight. So it's just like guilt just everywhere all the time. But yeah, I find it really easy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I did a Drabble yesterday morning, and like I did 5 Drabbles, and then 2 of them were dead on 100 words the first time, and it was crazy. Like, and I was like, I actually thought I'd like fallen into the Matrix or something, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is weird. And then I did the next one, and it was like 204 words. I was like, oh, that's better. That's better.
That's 2 Drabble.
No.
One.
But yeah, I find them pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. Like, I like word limits. I just like to.
That's where we differ.
Again, I think it's because I was working class and Catholic. I like limits, where someone's like, you have to do this. If you have to do this, I like a word limit, and I try to get up to, and even if I'm writing something myself, like if I'm writing a novel or something or a novella, I'll like just say it's going to be this word count. This is what I'm aiming for, just to kind of, especially for a first draft, just to kind of like limit myself so I just don't go absolutely insane and ramble like I'm doing now. Because when I'm nervous, I ramble, and so I ramble and ramble and ramble. But with Drabble, so it's 100 words. I'm like, well, this is the scene, this is the start, this is the middle, this is the end. I'll know what the twist is at the end or whatever before I start writing. That's the first thing that I think of, and then I just work to that point. It's like what the people need to know to get to this point, and that's it. There you go.
I hate you. I hate you and your limits.
Yeah. Sometimes limits are sexy.
Oh. Well, look at me. I don't understand what a limit is.
You're definitely Catholic.
Got it. Okay, Mr. Hultman. Same question to you, mate. Drabbles.
Well, I like a bit of Drabble because I do need limits. I'm like you, Tim. I'm very bad. I think David can attest to this, that I'm always asking in every single call, is it a hard limit? That's the word limit, because I always go.
I would love to know how many publishers I've actually started speaking to because of that comment. I can think of at least 5 publishers that I've actually got on speaking terms with because I've messaged them saying, is there any wiggle room on the upper limit?
Yeah. So I find that Drabble's it's a great tool to practice keeping it simple. So I use a site called Drabbler, which they have a tool that counts the words for you while you're writing. So I can definitely tell, when I'm getting close. So I think it's easy if I have the inspiration.
That's in my head.
Yeah,
that's cheating.
Yeah, it is, because I can't count in my head. So I have to use it. No, but I think if I'm inspired, it's pretty easy. David did a little dirty trick in our document where we have all the Drabbles that have been sent in that we were supposed to review, and he put one in my name that I hadn't written. So I was forced to write one. So that was a challenge.
Anyone who's dealt with Hultman, he'll call people brother quite a lot because he thinks he's Hulk Hogan or something.
Yeah.
Brother. I just on the sheet I just slipped it in there, brother by Chris Hultman, and so he had to write it.
And I did. But it did give me the opportunity to explore myths and legends from Greenland. So. That was at least something positive out of that.
Yeah, of course.
That's hilarious.
You should see because obviously because it's being, I use brother because it's wrestling themed. Yes, that is why I use it. For anybody who doesn't know. but I'm a huge wrestling fan. But also our group, our group chat for Breaking Rules Europe is called the Click, which is also wrestling. From wrestling, but you should see that.
Well, that's why when you mentioned it the other day, I'm not a member of that. When you said, "Oh, we're going to talk about it on the Click," I just posted a picture of a GIF of Big Sexy.
Yeah. That's David in our group. That's David, Big Sexy.
Sorry, I stopped listening. What did you say? I just switched off completely. Sorry.
No,
this is it. You shouldn't get me and Hultman talking about wrestling, or we'll be here all night.
Oh, fuck off. Jesus Christ.
Move along to the next person. Take the next person.
Right. So, Chris Bannor. Save us, please. Save us. Tell us about Drabbles.
All right. I actually love Drabbles. Absolutely love them. I don't like limits, but I do like an exact challenge. So if it's 100 words, if it's 500 words, if it's 6 sentences, 3 sentences, like something that's a challenge like that, that's a very specific challenge. I just love those. I don't know what it is about it. You know, you sit down and you're like, okay, how the hell am I going to screw this up? And let's see where it goes, especially since whether it's a Drabble or, you know, a novel, I don't really plot things. So you just sit down and say, okay, how far can I get in 100 words and how many words do I have to cut out much later because I went way over. But it's fun. I just enjoy the challenge.
8,000 usually.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah, it's been noted that I have the writing equivalent of verbal diarrhea. Yeah.
Right. That's it for me. That's all I got to say about Drabbles. I love them.
Oh, Hewitt.
I like a good Drabble. It's mainly because they're
like something dirty.
It is. Didn't you listen to my Drabble? They are very dirty.
Yeah.
Succubuses and what have you. Well, the trick is with Drabbles. The trick with Drabbles is go and do the Twitter VSS 365 for a year, where you have to write to every prompt every day 240 characters and deliver, and don't do poetry because everyone does poetry and it's really easy. Go and actually do some prose and deliver a story in 240 characters. Then when you get 100 words, it's easy.
I think I would rather masturbate.
I got chapters
than do that.
I have chapters in my Drabbles after that. But no, I like sorry.
What's that? A VSS?
A very
I love those.
Story. Yeah. Oh. They're very popular.
I love those. I don't do Twitter very often. When I do, it's to go on and just do that.
Yeah, well, I did them for a year religiously, and there were some tough months depending on who's selecting the words that month. The one that almost broke me. There was somebody who was doing mathematical formula for a month, and they were just throwing in these quadratic equations and things. So you had to deliver a catchy little story in 240 characters with, you know, cosine variants and what.
I remember you asking me about that one day. You were like, "I need to do this." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I've been doing it."
Well, that's it. I was 300 days in.
Why? Yeah,
300 days in.
I was like,
"For the love of God, why?
Why do you have to do it?"
I spent 2 days on some of those.
Tim, I think you would actually implode if you tried to do one. Like there wouldn't even be like goal or anything. You'd just be sat there at your computer, and all of a sudden you'd just be gone. You just it sucks into nothingness. And then, like, you go for the walk, and then she'd be like, "I'm sure there was a Tim here at some stage today. Where has he gone?
Ceased to exist.
It's just gone.
It's literally like a singularity for him."
You'll
be tweeting to whoever organises it at Twitter, say, "Can I get an extension on today's VSF?" Well, you need to go and ask Jack.
Well, no, you just have to get Twitter to re-engineer their platform so it's more than 240 characters per tweet. But yeah, I like a good drabble.
Patrick, your take on it, drabbles.
Yeah, I love drabbles. As everyone else has pretty much said, if I'm left to my own volition, if I'm writing a short story, I'll throw everything and the kitchen sink into it, plus maybe another kitchen sink for good measure. So it's interesting to have the limit and see what I can make out of 100 words.
What's wrong with you all? They're evil. Oh man, yeah. That's really quite interesting. Like, because I mean, I think it's the last time I did one of these, somebody on there was like going, "Here's how you do it." So I know how to do it. It just causes my brain pain to do it.
So what is your preferred length, Tim?
I think it's novella length. Look at it. I think novella length is probably my sweet spot.
Kind of like a drabble.
Novelette to novella is probably my sweet spot, and pretty much everything over 5 or 6K is good for me. Anything under is a nightmare.
But don't you think it depends on where the inspiration from? Because you, just like me, and I think a lot of people in here are devotees of Lovecraft, and he had like a really sweet spot, of
novellas.
I don't think he could write drabble. No drabble.
No, you wouldn't have even set the scene, all that purple prose. Yeah. So this would be why me and you struggle with word counts, Hultman, because we're both squid heads. So
hey, I am too, but I just have the shame and the guilt.
You have the guilt. You have to cast it. Yeah. Don't forget the guilt.
Yeah, it's a great thing to have some.
Right, we actually have some questions. I saw some. Let's find them away. Here we go. We got one for Chris and David. Which myths did you enjoy the most while reading through the submissions? That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, there was lots of them that. Hi, Anya, as well. Thanks for the question. I liked. Oh, just as well, while Andy's asking the question, she designed the hardback, the special edition hardback.
Oh, yeah, she did, didn't she? Yeah, so kudos there, because the hardback is very nice. Yeah,
it's lovely. It's a beautiful cover. So I mean, I enjoyed reading through all of them, and obviously I edited them as well. So I read through them a few times. I read through them, and it was there were some great ones, and there was some. It was nice to see a lot of the Slavic ones actually. I think as Tim mentioned it before about like Netflix bringing kind of European mythology to like a wider audience with some of the shows, and like The Witcher is a big example of that. Obviously, it was a video game as well, the books and the video game, but because of that, there was quite a lot of Slavic based folklore and mythology that I loved reading, that I hoped what we would get. So like the Wild Hunt, which the Wild Hunt origins are actually Irish.
They are, yes. Yeah.
But it became more of a thing in Eastern Europe for whatever reason. But that was great. And there was like Leshens and other things like that.
I like a bit of a Leshen.
Do you like a Leshen? I do. Yeah, I do like them. So I was really great with that. And Anya actually did one as well, which is actually probably my favourite title of all of them, which was called Wrecked at the Rhine. Because I only think it's one of my favourites because when I'm like tired, I'll say, "Oh, I'm wrecked."
Yeah, wrecked. Mancunians. Yeah. Oh, I'm absolutely wrecked, man. Yeah.
It just puts into my head like there's loads of like tired people hanging around the Rhine. So it makes me laugh every time that I think about it.
Wrecked, the other connotation with wrecked was stoned, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If your mate was like, "How you doing, Steve?" "Oh, I'm wrecked, man. I've been on this afternoon."
Yeah. So they're having a great time at the Rhine in this one. They're either stoned or sleeping. But no, yeah. So I was really happy to get the Slavic one, and we got a few Iberian ones in there as well. Which
I like that we got that. And I think we were talking early on when we were getting because we got a lot of Greek mythology, one or two Roman mythology, which was kind of like odd. So I think that you'd get more of them. But I think and a lot of black shuck. A lot of black shuck.
You posted it saying we've got lots of Greek, we've got a lot of black shuck. And I went, well, I've got a lot of really obscure fishermen's tales. Is that all right?
we got a lot of Meg's daughter as well. Actually, we got quite a lot of that,
right.
Which was I think it might have been the Doctor Who. I'm not a Doctor Who. So I think it must have been that. But we got a lot of black shuck. Black shuck was the and like the Greek stuff like straight out of the gate, and we kind of filled up on Greek pretty early. But yeah, we didn't get a lot of Roman because I think a lot of people steered clear of it because they thought, well, everyone's going to do Roman. But as well, like the Roman stuff is just ripped off the Greek anyway. So
but I mean, we got some French stuff, which was fun. So that was fun.
French African stuff, wasn't it? Yeah.
Some of the Gallic stuff is some of the Gallic,
and those are placed in Germanic because we didn't want to do a bunch of subcategories because we could have done obviously Gallic and we could have done Gothic or Germanic, and then we could have even gone deeper into those. But so they're all categorized as Germanic because obviously they're Germanic tribes, no matter if you're French or German or whatever. But I think it was the ones that I enjoyed the most were the ones that dug a little bit deeper. Like I was saying, was like when it came to like Scandinavian, that it wasn't. I mean, it's fine with the gods. I like the gods as well. But when it was like actual like lore and ghost stories from those areas that were a little bit different, like the Will o' the Wisp, for instance, it's like a great going a little bit deeper into it than just saying a big sea or a fairy.
Yeah, I mean, like the ones Patrick, well, all of you guys. I mean, the ones that you've been read tonight have really surprised me because when I saw that, because obviously I've not read it yet because my copy hasn't arrived, and I still haven't got my digital Hultman.
And acting like that, you're not going to get it either. I don't know. I don't know what happened to your email. I don't know. It's just it vanished.
No, it's really, really refreshing because, like I imagine you guys were. I was just suspecting lots of Roman and Greek. When you say European mythology, but like hearing some of the stuff that you guys are like the Will of the Wisp and that zombie thing that Patrick did, that's brilliant. That was really cool.
And obviously, there was a lot of
kudos to Hewitt's sort of succubus porn.
I didn't make it up. Go and talk to the Hungarians. They're just horrible.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And we did get another Hungarian. There was two Hungarians because this one, and David, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but Kati Lokadottir. She is from Hungary, and she only sent one drabble in, I believe, right?
But I think
which was a shame because.
I think that's a first. I think this is a first publication though as well. I think this is the first one. She's a very new writer, but hopefully she'll send us some more because hers was very interesting. I think hers was one of the first ones we received actually.
Yeah, it was, and it was interesting because also it was like it was different. It was nothing I'd never ever heard of, because you when you think Slavic, you don't think Hungary or Bulgaria. That's not the first country that you think of.
No.
The thing that I was surprised about as well, we didn't get hardly any vampire stuff. And I actually put a post up at one point. It's like, you can send us some vampire stuff because that's Romanian. Yeah, Transylvania is in Romania, and
I imagine everybody thought everyone and their dog would be doing vampires.
Yeah, I think we got maybe two, or maybe three. And we got loads of black shuck instead,
But we did
surprise me. It's like Why Black Shuck? Like, strange. Yeah.
Well, we did get a lot of Baba Yagas too.
Yeah, Baba Yaga. Yeah, we got a lot of Baba Yaga. Yeah, I think that's the Witcher thing as well, and also John Wick. John Wick, Baba Yaga. It's there. It's in the Zeitgeist. Yeah.
But can we just mention that we got a stellar foreword for this anthology as well? For those who haven't heard it, we got Benjamin Radford, who is an acclaimed folklorist, and he's a paranormal investigator as well.
Yeah.
Member of
Mythbuster.
Yes, Mythbuster, and is an expert on clown lore.
Well, we were talking about this online because I've read some of his ghost hunting stuff, and I've ordered his thing about clowns. It's not turned up yet, but yeah, it's in the post. Yeah.
Clown.
Yeah, like the clown and all this kind of stuff. Man.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful forward. I mean, he really liked everything. I mean, he read it in 1 weekend. Really, I sent him a copy, a proof, just so he knew what he was getting into, what he was saying yes to. But he was well pleased, and it was fun.
I was reading some of these comments.
Yeah, I was just reading. There's your next anthology.
Yeah.
Oh, genius!
Trolling the trollers.
Trolling the trollers, yeah. That's Kurt. That's my mate Kurt who's trolling them. Kurt Wild, one of my mates. Yeah, one of my best mates lives in Brighton. He's one of my drinking partners. Anyway,
these two are the first travels in a new anthology.
Deborah Groom. She thought she was thinking about asking for wiggle room on Adventure in Weights, but was afraid that I would get
Deborah, before this call was even made, Tim asked me, he was like, listen, if you're going to do any anthologies, is the wiggle room on anything that you're going to do? And I was like, well, I'd be insulted if he didn't ask, to be honest with you. So we have a 10% wiggle room below or under, really. We're not going to stifle creativity. And also, if we said that we can't have wiggle room, then we'd never get any submissions from Tim. And not to say that Tim is like a shoe.
It'd be funny even if it wasn't true. But it
is. It's not to say that Tim's like a shoe-in or anything, but I like his work, and I'd like him to at least sub to us. So if we were like, it's a hard limit, you can't go over, like it's just rules without. Yeah, there's wiggle room. All right. I think the biggest submission we have. This is for our Adventure Awaits one, which is anthology on adventure stories, which is like Biggins and Enid Blyton, and like if you're more modern, like Uncharted or Tomb Raider or something like that, Indiana Jones and all this kind of stuff.
Even Da Vinci Code would work.
Yeah. So the longest we've got so far is I think 10,000 words. So and we're okay with that. So if it's any more than 10,000, just take the scissors to it.
Well, I was good. When we talked about this anthology, I think I said 10,000 limit.
2 words under 10,000 because I didn't want to take the piss.
Yeah, but when we were thinking about it, when we were going with the limit, we were like, Tim might want to submit to it, so we have to give it like a big, like a big limit, a big upper limit. Because originally we were going to do 4 to 7,000, I think, wasn't it? And then we're like, we might as well up it because Tim is going to submit to it.
Yeah, we did. But Tim, you and I both submitted to Dark Region Press.
Yes.
Remember the survival one, right? I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, but there I asked them about the limit, and there was like a blank no. It's like this is a hard limit, nothing else. I don't know if you got. Or if you just said screw it, submitted yours anyway, and that's why
I
they
just
didn't
submitted
accept
it and got rejection because I went over the limit.
They probably just did the word count and just like, nope.
Yeah, I don't get hard limits, because it's like, if you've got like ours, for example, is 5,000 to 9,000, right? But if everyone submitted 5,000, that's going to be a lot shorter than what you planned on it being. So why not take some that are a little bit longer?
Yeah.
But then we thought this was 0 hour, and that's why we ended up having a nearly 100,000 word book, which was supposed to be about 60,000. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think that you can't limit, because I'm looking at one of my Legends anthologies, the ones that you talked about, David, and then I don't know what the ones with Terry Pratchett and Robert.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there they have like Terry Pratchett's story in that is maybe 2,500 words, whereas George R.R. Martin ones is like half the book.
He's not even finished it. He just submitted what he had, and he was like, "Listen, I'll come back and finish this later." Bastard.
He did so much. But I was just wondering about limits. Like, I mean, can you really, like, did Robert Jordan ever have limits, or did people just say, you know what, go for it, tell your story?
Well, his wife was his editor, so probably not. He was like, "Well, I'm not going to put the bins out if you say I have to cut this bit out." So,
Michelle River. I'm so happy about this. I'm so happy I'm not alone. Michelle River says, "Love this. I also cannot write a drabble without cutting 1,000 words." So there you go. I am not alone. Oh dear. I just keep getting distracted by the counter trolling. It's just hilarious.
Why haven't you put up Kurt Wild's other question about our favorite wrestlers?
Oh, I will. Well, I'm scrolling up to find it. Oh yeah, here we go. Kurt Wild asks, if one of your stories could be made into a series on HBO, which story would you pick, and who would play the lead? Now, are we talking generally or out of this anthology, do we think?
Probably generally, because...
Generally, yeah. Generally? We'll go generally? Yeah. Cool. David, you go first.
Oh, thanks for that. So I would go, actually, I know straight away, it's the Nick Halloran series. I'd love to put that into HBO or Amazon Prime or Netflix or Apple or Disney. Well, probably not Disney, but whoever's interested, they can have it. Contact Michelle.
Other streaming services are available.
Yes, all streaming services. Please contact Michelle River at Erie River Publishing if you want to. But yeah, I'd love to. I think that would be really good. I think most of everyone here has read it, so I think it's quite cinematic in a way. Like, it's very kind of like, you can see it in that way. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I think because I don't think it'd be that expensive to do either, which is always handy. Who would play the lead? Oh man,
tricky.
It is a tricky one, yeah.
Rutger Hauer.
No, he's not that old actually. It's like his early 40s. He's like the same age. He has the same year of birth as me. So but it's obviously set in 2024, so he's a little bit older. I'd actually go with someone like Evan Peters, who was in the American Horror Show series. He was Quicksilver in the new X-Men films, not the Marvel ones. He was in WandaVision as well. He's mid-30s now, and he's got that kind of sardonic delivery of stuff, which I think you'd need if you were Nick Halloran. But he's also got that kind of you can flick a switch, and he's very, very kind of serious and very haunted as well, which I think would work well for him. But yeah, he's got a lot of charisma as well, which I think Nick's quite charismatic. So yeah, that's who I'd go with.
Awesome. Right, just to fill in the viewer, Chris Hultman had to leave. We were informed about this, so he's bailed. Good night, Chris. We will basically we've overran, as was expected. So we'll move on to Chris Bannor. So out of all your stuff, go for it.
I'm gonna go my short story from 0 Hour 2113.
Oh.
I think that would I think it would be an interesting story, and I think like taking the whole book and putting it on TV would be awesome. So that's an
I had
easy
something
one.
else.
Totally agree.
Zero. It just I think there's so much visually going on with every single chapter of that book, so I think that would be really fun, and I would love to see from my own story, I'd love to see my laboratory scene set up.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would love that. As for who I would have play the part, there's a Chinese actor named Zhi Yilong who I absolutely love. I'm totally into Chinese drama these days. And so I love this actor. He's phenomenal, and I would love to see him in it.
Cool.
But I don't think he's done anything in English, so.
Subtitles, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Subtitles, fine, man. I don't care. Yeah. Mr. Hewitt, on to you, sir.
Well, I did have something else, but 0 Hour is a much better idea. No, I had another story.
I just did that as well in my head.
Yeah. I think if you think about it,
I'm going to do 2 because I'm a big cheater, so I'm going to do 2.
well, I guess the question would be, who would make their career playing croon? I mean, that would be like an Al Pacino defining moment, but that'd be the Oscar right there if you could pull it off. I can't think of anybody who's really up to it.
No, maybe Chitwell either for Oscar winner. He has 12 Years a Slave, then Crew.
Yeah, well, I was thinking Denzel, but he's a bit past it, I think now.
He's a bit past it.
Crew.
Yeah, it is good.
Danny
It is
John
good.
Jules.
Danny John Jules.
Oh, there you
Danny
go.
John Jules, man.
Yeah, the
That's
man.
what I was getting fucking definitely the cat. It's the
got the
cat.
moves.
Danny
He's got
John
the moves.
Jules, man. He's got the moves. He's a bit old and decrepit now.
He's also got the clothes as well. You don't even.
The clothes, exactly. You can see him in the top hat.
So you could do the whole thing on a budget.
Yeah. You see him in his. Yeah, you just get him out of his wardrobe, wouldn't you, man? Great. There you go, sorted.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Clipper is Jason Statham.
No, that's not who I had in mind.
Yeah,
Really?
It wasn't mine when I was writing it.
Oh, right.
It was Bacon from Lockstock.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna cop out and say 0 Hour. I had another one, but I'll go 0 Hour. It's much, and if you're listening, Netflix, do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Maybe wait for a year though, Netflix, please.
Yeah, wait for a year. Yeah, definitely wait for a year. Then we'll be working on the sequel.
Yes, that's why. Yeah.
Right, moving swiftly on to Patrick Winters. Oh, God. So, same question to you, mate. Out of all your stuff, go for it.
My joke answer would have to be a short story called Her Name's Not John, about a guy who falls in love with a toilet that starts talking to him.
I see that.
I mean, that's at least a miniseries, if not the full season real.
I mean, we've all been there.
And probably Patrick Stewart is the lead. I mean, I think he could fall in love with a toilet better than anybody out there.
Oh,
Yeah. If anybody could, Patrick Stewart could.
Definitely, yeah.
Everyone could
We
fall
don't
in
do
love with a bunch of porcelain.
Have you all seen this episode of Extras?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one with then all their clothes fell off. That one.
And then all their clothes fall.
Oh,
I have an aversion to anything with Ricky Gervais in it. He brings
Oh
me
man!
Oh no, you've got to.
If you watch anything with Ricky Gervais, watch this episode of Extras. It's so good. Watch this episode of Extras. It is brilliant. It is so good. Do it.
So that's brilliant. I'm going to have images now of Patrick Stewart monologuing to a
It was that one. It was that one, and the Kate Winslet one as well.
Oh yeah, the Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet one. They must have wrote those lines and thought she would just rip them up and tear them, throw them away. Because any sane person would have done.
Yeah, definitely. I just love that the Patrick Stewart one where he's there's a bit in it where Ricky Gervais is like, I've written a script, will you read it? And he goes, Patrick goes, and yes, I'll make it so. And Ricky Gervais is like, yeah, okay. And he's like, you've not seen Star Trek? No.
Oh, wow.
And you're single? Yes. You're a male? Yes. And you've not seen Star Trek? And it's quality. And then all their clothes.
The name on the screen right now. Just bugger off.
I was going to say, no, Bablo's my spirit guide. Hang on.
Oh, is he? Oh, right.
He does readings. Yeah. Totally legit. Totally legit.
At least he's asking for credit cards this time. I banned about 15 of these fuckers. I swear. Every time I do a live reading, I end up banning about 15 of these guys.
Well, leave him alone. He's a priest.
Yeah.
And if you need anything about spiritual powers, for love spell, for cancel case from Kurt, and to remove someone from prison or jail, free reading learning how to heal, or how to know about spiritual powers healing any sickness, and protection bracelet. If you have any forms of this sickness, also diabetes, low sperm count, stroke, barrenness.
No. But but the real deal is on here too.
And then
now that is the kind of magic I need in my life.
Yeah.
Somebody call back to the bedroom.
Yeah. Hang on, let me get my credit card.
Yeah. General bat-related spells and shit. Thanks, Kurt. You've made my night with that, mate. You really have.
Patrick, what was your real answer? Because I remember you said that was your joke answer.
Yeah, sorry.
I shouldn't have even said joke. I should have just said that was the real one. But I guess the real one, I guess I'd have to go with a series of short stories I have. The Gravedigger. It's a horror western action adventure. Kind of wanted my own kind of Conan the Barbarian character of a roaming figure that just goes around getting into all sorts of mischief and what have you. And when I was writing the character, I pictured him being portrayed as let me look him up real quick. The guy who played Sawyer in the Lost television series.
Josh Holloway.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. For whatever reason, maybe because I was watching Lost around that time, I pictured him as this mysterious grizzled cowboy figure that wandering with the West and getting into things.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I could see that if I'm picturing the right guy. I'm just trying to picture the cast of Lost, and they've all got that incredible 90s haircut. It looks like a hedgehog's arse on the top of it.
Yeah.
Or brush forward and spiky, looks like a hedgehog's bum.
We were talking about this recently because it came on Disney Plus, so I started watching it again, rewatching it, and I messaged you, I think, and Chris as well, and I was like, it's like people look like the most mid-2000s people you would ever meet.
Yeah.
Like they are like
the Enders of Sex or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a great show, though. Love it.
Until the ending.
No, I love the ending as well. I love the ending.
That was gash. I'm sorry, it was gash.
Go fuck yourself, Tim. I love it.
Oh, brilliant. I'm sure. Oh no, I should do my bit now, shouldn't I? Yeah, shit. I'm too busy giggling at other people. Well, we've already said who I would choose to be Croon. It would be Danny John Jules, because come on, man, the cat.
Yeah.
The cat in a hat. It would work. Right. my next one would be something that's not out yet, but my novella Miracle Growth, and the lead character in it. Well, the two lead characters will be played by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, because I saw it as it was a what if in my head. It was one of those what if moments, and it was only supposed to be a short story, but it turned into a novella. Go figure. What if H.P. Lovecraft wrote Day of the Triffids, then had it turned into a movie by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. So it was basically Triffids, Colour Out of Space, and Hot Fuzz all mashed up with bits of Monty Python in there. So John Cleese, actually, I need John Cleese as the vicar. That's what I need John Cleese as the vicar.
Yeah. That's good. Oh. Why does Kurt Wilde just keep writing Tim Curry all the time? Just keeps typing Tim Curry.
He's got a fetish.
Is he like Tim Curry?
Oh yeah, he's got a fetish.
He's also from our neck of the woods as well, Tim Curry. He's from Warrington.
Yeah, he is. Aye.
Isn't it? Yeah.
No, he's
Yeah,
no, Kurt's got a fetish. But Kurt does have another funny comment here.
Yeah.
Kurt, you silly sod. Right. I think we're going to draw this madness to a close now.
No, let's just keep going. Let's just.
It's a sitting until Netflix end.
Yeah.
I knew somebody would do it when I did my Drabbled. I knew some bugger, and I should have known it'd be him. Right. It's a fair question. It's a fair question.
My favourite Tim Curry film, I know, like everyone loves Rocky Horror Picture Show, but my favourite one is Clue.
Nice.
He's so good in that, and the reason I love that, it's a really funny film anyway, and it's like based on a fucking board game, and it's like how there's no rights to be that as funny as it is, but like it has some great people in it. But it's the multiple endings.
Yeah.
And,
in fact, that's half the film, isn't it? The endings.
Yeah. That's the home release though. If you went to the cinema to watch it when it came out, you got one of the endings, and you had to go and watch multiple.
You had to go watch them all different times, didn't you? To get
yeah.
Oh, really?
And the real ending is
marketing right there, man.
Yeah. This is in the 80s.
Look at that the marketing, and you had to go to the cinema like what was it, sort of like 8 times to see it.
So like the proper ending is the Tim Curry is the spoilers for a film that's nearly 40 years old, but the Tim Curry is the bad guy is the proper ending. But like when you get it on the home release, so if you watch it on whatever it's streaming on or whatever, you get all of the endings. It's like this is what really happened. This is what really happened. But yeah, just imagine that. Like you might have gone to watch it in the cinema, and then you'd be like, "Wow, can't believe that Tim Curry was the bad guy," and they're like, "What? The guy from Spider-Man was the bad guy."
Yeah. No, for me, it's all about Tim Curry as Pennywise for me. It's all about his version of Pennywise. Hiya, Georgie, run a balloon.
Yeah.
Now, when that came out, I scared the living shit out of my brothers, my best friend's younger brother. We come at us. We just watched it, right, and he was in the year below us, and we bailed on the last lesson. Not that we did that kind of thing. It was a one-off, people. It was a one-off. And to get home, you had to walk under an underpass, like under this big ring road, right? So it echoed like hell, but there was these big ass drains in it. And we were like, right. My friend's brother's name was George. So we go and hide behind this bush, and we've got a Coca-Cola bottle that we've cut the end off, so we can talk through it. Oh, we lost somebody else now, and he comes down the road. He's pissing it down with rain. Hiya, Georgie! Yeah. Yeah.
Neen says makes a great point there as well. He was brilliant in Legend.
Yes. Yes. Very much so.
Yeah,
yeah. There we go.
Yeah, he was great in Legend. Like the expanded.
I know Neen's got a thing. Neen's got a bit of a phobia of clowns, so that was pretty bad of me doing that. Next time I do a live reading, I'm going to come on in grease paint.
Yeah, that would be good. So I've got a question for all of you, and hopefully when Patrick comes back on as the person that kind of came up with the idea for this anthology, what would you like to see us do next? Other than Adventure Awaits, obviously, which we're already doing at the moment. But what kind of things would you like to see from us in the future?
Well, funnily enough, that somebody else asked the very similar question earlier. But it's buried under like mountains and mountains of bloody Kurt Wilde.
I think it's like expanding it to other cultures and other.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk about this while you tell me what you want us, because then we'll add them to the list of things we're doing. Yeah. Basically, there is.
Probably start with somebody else because you obviously know my answer.
Yeah. Well, I'll answer Nikki's question then. So there's no plans to expand it into other territories because we want to kind of focus that on Europe for the time being. But the Drabbles anthology is like a prelude to a bigger series that we're going to do, which is going to be short stories based on the 4 regions of Europe. So we're going to do like a Celtic and Britannic one. Then we're going to do like a Northern Europe, which would be like, Scandinavian sort of stuff, Germanic, Slavic, and then like a Southern Europe, so like Greek, Roman, Iberian. And they are all going to be short story collections, so it'll be like 4,000 to 8,000 words or something. So that's the plan for that one. So that's I'm not sure which one of them is opening first. I think we're going to be doing the Celtic and Britannic one first, which will obviously just be like Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. Then after that, maybe we could look at doing like regional specific ones from around the world. But it's one of those things as well that the reason why we picked to do the European ones is because we're European, so we know kind of what we're talking.
I know what you're talking about when you're reading the submissions, right?
Exactly, and I think we could probably get away with doing like a North American one because we're so like saturated with North American stuff in Europe, especially in England, Ireland, and obviously Hultman is he grew up in America. But then if we started to do sort of like Asian stuff, it would be kind of like, do we really know what we're talking about with it?
Yeah,
probably not. We know it on a surface level, and it would be that kind of thing where it kind of verges into the cultural.
Like we were talking, like Chris was saying earlier about the watered down fairy tales and stuff they get in America through Disney. It'd be like that, really, wouldn't it? Because
exactly. And you don't want to. One of the things that I like. I mean, I love the fact that this appealed to people around the globe. Like we got Australian writers, we got American writers, we got people from Asia, and various Africa actually. We had a few Africans, which was great. But I think that's just because like how much of the influence of Europe throughout people's history and everything like that. But then if we were to
the pop culture as well, like with all we were saying with the TV shows and that is
exactly. But if we started to do Breaking Rules Europe started to do like kind of Lost Lore and Legends, Asia, for example, I think it'd be a little bit kind of, it would be just a surface level kind of thing.
It wouldn't be authentic, I think.
It wouldn't be authentic. Yeah. I saw a question there from Anya again, asking if we're doing a sci-fi anthology. We haven't got a plan to do a sci-fi anthology at the moment, but we are doing a sci-fi label
With a short word count.
I think we will do something sci-fi for a shorter word count, because we are launching 3 different labels. So we're doing, and I'll give you the names of them now. We don't, when we announced it, we didn't do the names of them, but you can order the names. So we're doing the sci-fi label, which is called Chronicles. So that's going to be like longer story. So Luke Emery's is one of the Sunshine is one of the first ones launching with that. So that's a novella. But we will do a short story anthology as well. And we're doing the Lovecraft one, which is going to be called Mythos. So again, that'll be novellas, novels, and we'll probably do some anthologies to support that one. And we're doing a fantasy one as well, which is called Fables. Again, we'll be that. So
everybody's made a different face when they've got along. I did the big thing for the Mythos, and then I saw Chris Bannor go for Fables.
You probably noticed that we
squares.
You probably noticed that we haven't got one for horror, and that is because we're probably going to stay clear of horror, to be honest with you, for the time being, because in the kind of sphere, there's a lot of horror. There's a lot of places that would be like I can do horror, okay, but the other 2 lads aren't big into horror. They would be sci-fi or fantasy as well. So there's other places we do look different.
You can have elements in all of those things you've said.
Of course, yeah. So you can have fantasy. You can have like obviously mythos with like Lovecraftian weird fiction would have that in it as well. You can have horror, length sci-fi, but we're probably not going to do like a full-on horror label, because there's places that'll do it a lot better than us, to be honest with you. Like
more established than
not even more established, just better.
Yeah,
like Erie River. You've got
Hellbound, and you got some dedicated labels to it, like Madness.
Red Cape Publishing. New places like Raven and Drake and Black Ink that are horror focused. And it's like, we want to do something a little bit different to that. So we probably won't be doing that at the moment. That's not to say we don't want horror elements, because if you're going through Lost Lore and Legends, you'll see a lot of drabbles that do have that horror side to it. But as I say, like there's people that are experts in it, and like Erie River would be the place. That's the place where I send my horror stuff to. So there you go. That'd be it. But long story short, that's the 3 kind of things we're looking at: is fantasy, weird, and sci-fi. So we will be doing longer releases, like Negan Cohen's Cold as Hell, like Luke Emery's Sunshine, and we will be doing anthologies to support that as well. So that's that. So that's the answer.
Excellent. So what was your question you had? We're going to wrap this up in a minute.
So what kind of things like
question when Patrick wasn't here, we were waiting for him to come back.
Yes, exactly. So what kind of anthologies would you like to see us do in the future? Because as I say, we have the Adventure Awaits one. We have another one that's coming up, which I might as well just tell everyone who's on. So it's going to be a mashup anthology. So it's going to be like Sherlock Holmes meets H.P. Lovecraft, King Arthur meets Robin Hood, Frankenstein meets Godzilla, like all this kind of stuff. It's like crazy mashups.
Frankenstein does
Lovecraft, you had me. I could write you an entire book of that.
It's anything you want. It's going to be just something and something, just mash them up. Opposite, just completely opposite. Like Barbie versus Chucky, like something like this. Just put them together, So that's we're going to be doing that. That one's going to be announced pretty soon. So I guess that I'm announcing it now.
So glad you're not doing horror though. Barbie versus Chucky. But keep it light, keep it light.
Keep it light. No, it can be anything. Because like some of the adventure ones that we've got have been quite horror leading. Yes. That's true. That's true. Some of the adventure ones have been getting.
No, I will come to Ireland to give you a slap.
If you can get in the country, you're more than welcome.
I will fucking swim.
Yeah, so like some of the stuff for Adventure Awaits is like we have some very horror leaning stuff. We have some very family friendly stuff. That's fine. That's cool. But yeah, this one, the mashup one, it's just whatever you think is great, what you think is interesting and fun and messy. Just go for it, and then we'll see what happens. That's probably the next one we're going to do. We're probably going to do a fantasy one as well, and then we obviously have the ones that are going to tie in with Lost Lore and Legends. But other than that, like, you know, what kind of things would you guys like to see from us?
Well, you've already said what I want.
Yeah, you've already told him.
We'll move on.
Cthulhu.
Move on to Chris Banner. I'm sorted, man. I'm happy. I've already got ideas in my head.
Yeah. Story writing.
Yeah.
What about alternative histories, but not the big, not the big pretentious end of World War II type stuff. The Betamax went over VHS or something like that. They can't be big events. Man, none of this what if JFK didn't get assationated nonsense.
No.
What if Burger King had beaten McDonald's or something?
Real world what ifs. What if Man United had beat Southampton in the 1979 FA Cup final?
Nobody would care, Dave. Nobody would care.
I fucking care, all right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I care.
I'm from England and I don't know what he's talking about. I have more interest in a woodlouse's left testicle than I do in football.
Well, there you go. There's your next anthology.
What if Kurt Russell what if Christopher Walken had been cast as Han Solo?
I thought you were going for Snake Plissken there.
Yeah.
No, there's no Snake Plissken, man, unless it's me.
Yeah, that's true. The final three people for Han Solo were Harrison Ford, Christopher Walken, and Kurt Russell.
Oh wow!
So that's a good one. What if?
Yeah. No. Can anyone do the Walken dialogue though?
I don't want to imagine it. I don't.
I'm just hearing Walken as Han Solo. I love you. I know. I know.
Looks like another version needs to be put together.
Can you, Pat? Can you do the Christopher Walken version of "Let's blow this thing and go home, kid"?
Let's blow this thing and go home, kid.
Yeah,
Walken is a very difficult impersonation to do.
Oh yeah, no, right now.
I'm never going to be able to watch Star Wars ever again.
All right, so let's say we do this anthology, an alternative history anthology. If anyone does Christopher Walken as Han Solo, you're automatically in.
That's all you're going to get now. Our submissions that are Christopher Walken is Han Solo.
Oh man, I would fucking.
There you go, right.
The Christopher Walken anthology.
just in every role.
Christopher Walken as in every one is a different random role that he's taken over.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
Terrifyingly hilarious.
I bet you as well. I bet you we could get him to do the foreword for it as well. I bet he'd do it.
I bet he would. I bet he'd do the audio book.
Oh man.
There you go.
Great.
Good luck selling that to Chris when you catch up with him.
I'm just going to tell him we're doing it.
Oi, Hultman, we're doing this.
That's it.
Oh
wow.
Oh, Michelle, that's evil. Christopher Walken is Mary Poppins.
We'd have to work in the yeah, more sugar. We'd have to work in we'd have to work in the more cowbell in some kind of way.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's what we could call the anthology. I've got a fever.
It's writing itself.
It is.
Oh my god. I've got a fever, and my doctor has prescribed more Woken alternative history.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Here's another cracker. Deborah Groom again. Now I'm hearing Patrick doing Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. Go on, Patrick. Go on, mate.
It's good.
I don't know any Romeo's lines.
No.
I could do Walking as Juliet. Oh, Romeo. Walk out there, Romeo.
Good. It's good.
Well done.
I got a fever and I need more Romeo.
You've got to do, Tim, you've got to do an after hours with Patrick where it's just you giving him
Yeah.
things and saying, do it as
They will do it. Right. Let's bring this madness to an end.
It's the next anthology. It's there. We've done it. We're going to have to clear it with his estate, and then it's done.
It's done. It's a done deal, man. Right. In case you've forgotten, because we've been talking bollocks for about the last hour and a half. We have been talking about the Drabble anthology, Lost Lore and Legends, by Breaking Rules Publishing Europe. And that's how you can get hold of Breaking Rules Publishing Europe.
It's true.
Oh, there you go. There's the cover. Pretty book.
And the audio book is going to be coming soon, read by Patrick Winters as Christopher Walken.
Awesome.
Wow.
Oh, I'd love it to do some of mine. Oh, I'd love it to do some of mine. I really would. That'd be great.
Read some of those sexy succubus drabbles, maybe.
It's a new market. It's a whole new market.
So tonight, it's been scrolling along the bottom of your screen all night. If you want to get hold of this funky book, there you go. It's getbook.app/Lost Lore and Legends. Now, my guests have been David Green, who is, there you go. That's how you get hold of him. That's davidgreenwriter.com. His partner, one of his partners in Breaking Rules Europe, had to bail because he had something better to do, apparently. No, he did have to bail. That would be Christopher Marry Hultman, and that's how you get hold of him. And I'm not even going to try and say that because last time I did, I made a complete and total fool out of myself. It's the dot in the middle of tree. Why is there a dot in the middle of tree? It's just wrong.
Link to a dotty.
Yeah, link to tree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so moving across now, we have Chris Bannor, a nice easy one. That's www.chrisbanner.com. Then down to an even easier one, Chris Hewitt, that's muse.blog. And then we get into the realms of tongue twisters again, when we're going to Patrick Winters, which is wintersauthor.azurewebsites.net. I did it. That's wintersauthor.azurewebsites.net.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Doesn't it?
You can blame my friend for that. I had to have him set that up because I do not know technology. But I know crazy.
Nice. And there's me. That'll be timmendeswriter.wordpress.com. Thank you all for commenting tonight. There's been some hilarious stuff. This has been brilliant. And it was live, people, so there's no editing. So all that crap that you said tonight, it's now on the internet forever. So,
who the fuck are you pointing at when you said that, hey?
I'm going to get a call next week. What the hell are you doing? I don't sound like that at all.
Do you reckon people? Oh, they must do. Do you reckon people go up to Christopher Walken and do Christopher Walken impressions at him? He must do it all the fucking time.
Hello.
Wow.
Wow. I know.
He must get the watch up his ass thing like on a daily basis. His wife must say it to him.
It was part of the wedding vows. They got to work it in.
Wow.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I've had this wedding ring up my ass.
I'm broken. Fuck it. Finishing this all up. Thanks, people. Oh, it's been fucking great. Thank you for watching. If you're still there and you've had like all these numpties on the road.
All the walking fans are turned up.
Thank you very much. I will never submit or buy a publication from these fuckers. Never.
Good night, people. Good night.
Good night.
I can't find the button.
Oh, please find the